Today we are going to study some pharmacology. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Annalise. I am currently a nursing student in an accelerated bachelor's program. So I started in August, and by this coming August I will have my BSN. So accelerated meaning only 12 months. It is going by so fast. I'm already in the middle of second semester, have midterms coming up. So I figured that right now would be a good time to show you how I have been studying for pharmacology. I did pass my first exam on pharmacology, and I thought that the way that I studied was really effective. So I wanted to share that with you, but also help you just see a little bit of how I studied. So if you're wondering about how to study for pharmacology, this is just one way, and one way that has worked for me. So hopefully this can also help you too. Be sure to like this video so that I know that this is something that you are interested in learning more about. Post in the comments below if you have any questions about anything that I say. And then finally, make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more videos, especially like this, and studying for pharmacology. Let's get started. So just a little bit of background about my pharmacology class. So my pharmacology class is online, not just because it's 2020, it is normally online. So our lectures are pre-recorded by our professors. So we have anywhere from about 5 to 7, usually a week to listen to, and each one usually talks about a certain class of drugs or a certain indication meaning what the drugs are for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the lecture, take notes on the lecture, and I will follow up with you after I do that. Okay, so I just finished listening to my lecture. My first piece of advice is if your professors provide notes, read through them first, see what the layout of the lecture is going to be like. That's kind of your first pass of the information. Then listen to your lecture. If it's recorded, I suggest listening to it on an increased speed. So if the player that you're using allows you to have your playback speed go faster, or if you download a Chrome extension, which is what I use, to be able to bump up the speed on the playback of your video, it saves so much time. And then because you've already looked through your lecture notes, you know what to expect. So then you can just quick jot down things that the professor might say that aren't on the slides. So that's my first 1.5 pieces of advice. My second piece of advice is either the night after you have lecture or within a few days of you listening to the lectures, go ahead and start working on your study guide for the exam, and then also maybe study sheets. So I use study sheets. I have to go print out a few more. I will go get some of those and show them to you. These are study sheets. When I study for exams, I always write out the information that I'm studying. Writing by hand really helps me commit it to memory. 1, 2 is just like another opportunity to see the information. But I really think that being able to write it out, being able to color code is what helps me the most, if you watched my pathophysiology video, you know that I color code. So what I did was I went and I designed my own study sheets for pharmacology. Something I forgot to mention is it's most important for you to memorize a class of drugs. Don't worry about memorizing, and I know everybody says this, and even your professors might say this, but don't worry about memorizing specific names of drugs unless your professor points out specific information about a drug. The first one looks like this. So it has a bunch of boxes. I just found a fun black and white pattern, and then it has a bunch of boxes, and the boxes all say something different. So I'll put the class of drug up here, and then I'll write specific drug names of those classes in this box that the professor might have had on their notes. And then here is the mechanism of action. And if you know how it works, you know side effects. So some things that might go wrong because of the way that it works. Contraindications, so if pregnant women should not be taking this drug, you write that here. Patient education, what do patients need to know about this drug? Can they just stop it cold turkey if they don't want to take it anymore? Or will there be severe risks if they stop at cold turkey and we need to slow their stopping, whatever it's called. Anyway, and then also nursing implications. So if somebody's on this drug, what are things that you need to be on the lookout for? What are some care items you need to have for them? Some things are going to be similar to like side effects, being on the lookout for those things, or like patient education. Sometimes those things are similar to the nursing indications, but that's what I use for this. If my professor specifically named drugs within that class of drugs, I'll use a half sheet and write the name of that drug here, and then these squares are just all blank, so I can include whatever information they talked about specifically. So for some drugs they specifically highlight patient education. For some drugs they specifically highlight maybe a difference in the mechanism of action or something like that. So that all can go, I put those in half sheets. And then what I do is I have my big pharmacology binder. Hold on, I have to go get it. Okay, I got it, and now I'm really out of breath because I ran down and then I realized that I forgot something else, and then I ran back up to go get it. I was not prepared to be filming this video for you, and I apologize for that. I will be better next time. Thank you. Okay, so then what I do is I hole punch those papers and I put them in my big binder, which I have extra sheets. I have it tabbed off so I can tab it by, I think this last exam, I put them by chapter, but you could also do it by topic. So since we're doing reproductive drugs, this exam, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the male and female reproductive drugs in the same tab, even though they're different chapters, if that makes sense at all. And then I have all of my sheets from last exam. So what I did was I color coded each one and made it apply to our notes. So for the most part, I put the notes on the pieces of paper straight from my professor's notes, lecture notes. But I also use my Picmonic notes. And then one last resource that I use, which I thought was extremely helpful. I don't know if you're in nursing school right now, if your school uses ATI, but we have an ATI book bundle, and you can get them ebook style as well. But the Pharmacology ATI book, I thought it's very helpful in outlining specific details that you need to know underneath each drug category without being super overwhelming. Sometimes looking at my professor's notes is just too much for me to handle at one point in time. But the way that this is broken down, my brain, the way that it's organized, my brain gets it. So yes, I highly recommend finding a book resource that is just organized the way that your brain understands it. And if that's your textbook, great, phenomenal. But for me, it was this. So I highly recommend that you take a look at the learning objectives that your professor gives out. That way you know that you're covering the content that they expect you to cover. And sometimes professors might say that the learning objectives are only for them, but they're not. They're for you too. These are the things that they expect that they're going to be communicating that you are going to be able to pick up and understand. So you're going to want to look through those. Sometimes there'll be terminology that they want you to know. Most of the time it's just going to be the mechanism of action of these kinds of drugs and these, whatever. And the other thing that I do studying leading up to exam time is I look through Picmonic. I've talked to you about Picmonic before. Basically what it is it's an online tool, video website that gives you fun images and mnemonics and being able to remember certain things. So on the first exam, there's a certain type of diuretic that I didn't forget because I remembered the image that Picmonic used to explain what it did. So I was able to connect that image to the video and then pick out all the other details that were in the video to remember the facts about this drug. I have a discount code for Picmonic if that's something that you're interested in. It's down in the description below. I think it's really helpful if you don't want to pay for a subscription. You get so many free, I think it's like 3 to 5 free videos a day. So if it's just something that you want to work through leading up to your exam, or for me about 2 days before my exam, I'll go through and I'll look. I create a playlist and save all of the drugs that are going to be on that certain exam, and then I'll just look through them all. If there's something that stands out to me, I'll add it to my note sheet. I think it's helpful in recognizing what's important about the drugs, because Picmonic isn't going to list every little thing that was in your textbook. Picmonic is just going to point out the super specific details that you're going to need to know. And then lastly, right before the exam, I highly suggest looking at practice questions. So whether your textbook, or if you use the ATI book, or if you look on Quizlet for just practice questions, I think that that's really helpful for figuring out what the language of your exam is going to look like. So that's really all I have for studying pharmacology. I hope that this was helpful for you. I'm sure that you're going to do great. Just remember to take it slow, do what's best for you, and trust yourself that you're going to retain more information than you think you will. I really believe that the more times that you look at something and the more times you work with the material and the different ways that you work with the material is going to help your brain cells be able to hold on to it a little bit better. So good luck. You're doing great. Pray for me. I will be praying for you. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more of my videos about nursing school. And then make sure that you like this video so that I know that it was helpful for you. If you want copies of my study sheets, please comment below, and I can edit the description and put PDFs in there for those. I have a few different designs. They all have the same boxes, but different designs in the background. So anyway, hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!